The vertical dance. An introduction to sport climbing. Sport climbing is a unique challenge. It tests your body and mind. You move up a rock face or a climbing wall. Gravity pulls you down. You fight against it with every move. It requires focus and precision. Each handhold, each foothold must be precise. You need to think and plan your route. Then you execute the moves. It is like a dance, but vertical. The thrill comes from pushing your limits. It comes from solving the puzzle of the climb. It is a raw, fundamental human activity, reaching for something higher. What makes sport climbing different? It's not about extreme danger. Sport climbing uses fixed protection. Bolts are drilled into the rock, or holds are bolted to an artificial wall. This makes it safer. The focus shifts to pure athletic performance. You can push your physical limits. The risk of a serious fall is much lower. This allows climbers to focus on the difficulty of the movement itself. The feeling of completing a hard climb is incredible. You look down and see how far you have come. It is a personal victory. Every climb is a problem to solve. The holds are the clues. Your body is the tool. You have to figure out the sequence. Understanding the arena. What is sport climbing? Sport climbing is a form of rock climbing. It relies on permanent anchors fixed to the rock. These anchors are usually bolts, or it can be done on artificial walls with fixed holds. The climber attaches their rope to these anchors for protection. If you fall, the rope and anchors catch you. This is different from traditional climbing. In trad climbing, you place your own gear. Sport climbing routes are designed to be climbed using this pre-existing protection. This means you can focus more on the moves. Sport climbing happens in two main places: outdoors on natural rock faces called crags, and indoors in climbing gyms. Indoor climbing is very popular. It is a controlled environment. It is great for training and learning the basics safely. There are three main disciplines in competitive sport climbing: speed climbing, bouldering, and lead climbing. Each one tests different skills. Speed climbing is a race to the top. Bouldering involves short, powerful climbs. Lead climbing is about endurance on a long route. To be good at sport climbing, you need a range of skills. Physical strength is important, balance is crucial, flexibility helps you reach holds, mental fortitude is key. The disciplines decoded: speed, bouldering, and lead. Let's start with speed climbing. This discipline is easy to understand. It is a race. Two climbers compete side by side. They climb identical routes on a 15-meter high wall. The wall is standardized. The holds are always in the same place. The angle is always the same. The first climber to hit the buzzer at the top wins. It is very fast. World records are under 6 seconds for men and under 7 seconds for women. Speed climbing requires explosive power and incredible coordination. Next is bouldering. Bouldering involves climbing short routes called problems. They are usually only a few meters high. Climbers do not use ropes or harnesses. Instead, thick crash pads are placed on the ground. The focus in bouldering is on difficult moves. Problems often require a lot of strength and creative problem solving. Climbers get a set amount of time to complete as many problems as possible. Scoring is based on reaching the top hold, top, and intermediate zone holds. Then there is lead climbing. Climbers attempt to climb as high as they can on a tall wall, usually over 15 meters. They use a rope for safety, clipped into quick draws along the route. The climber who reaches the highest point wins. Lead climbing tests endurance, strategy, and the ability to manage pump forearm fatigue. Each discipline demands something different. Speed climbing is about raw, explosive power and muscle memory. Bouldering is about maximum strength, power, and technique. Lead climbing is about endurance, both physical and mental. Section 4. Reaching for gold sport climbing at the Olympics. Sport climbing made its Olympic debut at Tokyo 2020. This was a huge moment for the sport. It brought climbing to a massive global audience. For the Tokyo Games, there was only one medal event per gender. This event combined all three disciplines: speed, bouldering, and lead. Athletes had to compete in all three. Their final score was determined by multiplying their ranks in each discipline. The athlete with the lowest score won. This format was quite controversial. The combined format in Tokyo had its reasons. The International Olympic Committee offered a limited number of medals. Combining the disciplines allowed climbing to showcase its full range. However, many climbers specialize. A speed specialist might not be a top boulderer or lead climber. Despite the controversy, the event was exciting. It introduced millions to the sport's diverse challenges. For the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, the format changed. Sport climbing now has two separate medal events per gender. The first event is speed climbing on its own. The second event is a combined boulder and lead event. This change was widely praised. Speed climbing gets its own dedicated spotlight. The combined boulder and lead event is also seen as a more natural pairing. This format change means more medal opportunities for climbers. It allows for greater specialization. It reflects the evolution of the sport and listens to the athlete's feedback. Section 5. Gearing up. Essential equipment for the ascent. The most important piece of gear for a climber is their shoes. Climbing shoes fit very tightly. This allows you to use small footholds. The soles are made of sticky rubber. This rubber provides excellent friction on rock or climbing holds. There are many types of climbing shoes. Some are very aggressive, with a downturned toe. These are good for steep routes and bouldering. Others are flatter and more comfortable. These are often better for beginners or long climbs. Getting the right fit is crucial. Poorly fitting shoes can be painful and reduce performance. If you are lead climbing or top roping, you need a harness. A harness is worn around your waist and legs. It is what attaches you to the rope. Safety is the primary function of a harness. It needs to fit snugly but comfortably. Most harnesses have padded waist belts and leg loops for comfort. They also have gear loops for carrying quick draws and other equipment. For climbing with a rope, you need a rope and a belay device. Climbing ropes are dynamic, meaning they stretch a little when you fall. This stretch absorbs the energy of the fall. Belay devices are used to control the rope. The belayer uses the device to give out rope as the climber ascends and to catch the climber in case of a fall. Finally, most climbers use chalk to absorb sweat and improve grip. Chalk is usually carried in a small chalk bag tied around the climber's waist. Section 6. A climb through time, history and fun facts. Climbing has deep roots. It began as a part of mountaineering. People climb mountains to reach the summit. The act of climbing itself was just a means to an end. Early pioneers in the Alps and other ranges developed basic climbing techniques. They used rudimentary equipment. Over time, some people began to appreciate climbing for its own sake. They sought out difficult rock faces. They wanted to test their skills. This shift in focus was important. It laid the groundwork for modern rock climbing and eventually sport climbing. Sport climbing, as we know it today, really emerged in the 1980s. France, particularly areas like the Verdun Gorge, was a key place for its development. Climbers there started to equip routes with permanent bolts. This was a big change. It meant that climbers could try very difficult routes repeatedly. They could fall without extreme risk. The focus shifted to pushing the physical limits of climbing. This made it possible to climb routes that were previously unimaginable. Here are some fun facts about climbing. The first organized climbing competitions were held in the 1980s. These events helped to popularize the sport. The rise of indoor climbing gyms has been a game changer. Gyms made climbing accessible to people living far from mountains. This has fueled a massive growth in participation. Famous climbers like Wolfgang Gullich and Lynn Hill pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible. Section 7. Answering the call of the wall, your climbing journey. To recap, sport climbing offers a unique blend of challenges. It is physical. It demands strength, balance and technique. It is mental. It requires problem-solving, focus and courage. The satisfaction of reaching the top of a route you have worked hard on is immense. It is a very personal achievement. You are competing against the climb and against your own limitations. Each ascent is a small victory. It's about the process of figuring out the moves. It's about the feeling of your body working in harmony with the rock or wall. This unique combination draws many people in. If you are curious about sport climbing, how do you get started? The best place is usually a local indoor climbing gym. Most gyms offer introductory courses. These courses teach you the basics of climbing safety. They show you how to use the equipment correctly. You can usually rent shoes, harnesses and belay devices at the gym. This means you do not need to buy expensive gear right away. Safety should always be your first priority. Learn from qualified instructors. Always double-check your knots and your belay setup. Climbing is safe if you follow the correct procedures. The climbing community is generally very welcoming. Climbers are often happy to share advice and encouragement. You can meet climbing partners at the gym or through local clubs. Learning from more experienced climbers is a great way to improve.